it's not really something that I had noticed before, but apparently in the Stream Manager page that you have in your Twitch dashboard thing, as far as I'm aware as of today, because I've only seen this today, even though it might be a consequence of the fact that I had to restart the browser entirely. Apparently they've colored in some of these buttons that you can press, instead of all of them being purple. Perhaps to entice whoever may be so inclined to, like, throw ads in people's faces. Or start a prediction, which I don't remember if it's something that I've ever even done on here. Or do other things, one of which I always just end up doing through a written text command anyway, and the other of which that also isn't start a prediction, would involve a few things that I probably could vocalize with a sentence that starts like that I would find inconvenient, but more to the point. Would probably be extremely impractical by virtue of the fact that it would be more or less completely based on regional restrictions. But yeah, that having been said, hello, how is everyone doing? Hello, Burn. I am, I guess, in the process of figuring out that thing that I usually segue into at this point. Now that I am done with saying whatever inane thing I say at the start of these streams, it's not actually quite ready for the very same reason that I mentioned just a moment ago. Namely, the fact that I have to pull up everything on my browser again. But that's fine. I mean, it's probably a good idea anyway. But I am gonna have to grab a couple of links quickly, but yes, you can probably imagine exactly what I am referring to. Something that will provide everyone present without a shadow of doubt with... Okay, which one did I just click on? Was it this one? With a veritable treasure trove, it was that one. Of... video game music. And possibly also a mild intimation of the very heavy rain that is coincidentally falling outside my window right now. Oh hey. But a coinkydink. The first track that comes up when I load the playlist itself, which is not gonna be one of the guessable tracks just because of the fact that I've already looked at it, is Ghost of Bo from 7th Guest, which is actually a game that I only played for myself very recently, even though I had been aware of it for a very long time, and it feels like I really should have tried to do that before, but well, you know how it works is what I would assume, but that's not necessarily a given. It's just something that I say because it's convenient. But anyway, everybody just go here, and maybe that'll make my diatribe a little bit less seemingly futile. But yes, Ghost of Bo sounds like what? Like that. You know, I feel like none of the 7 Guest tracks, which I kind of remember from actually playing the game, now that I've done that, are going to be stuff I'm going to be able to get just by describing the context in which I play, because right now I couldn't even tell you exactly what the context for this would be. Maybe when you do like one of the puzzles, if not when you do any of the puzzles, which I don't think is true, but I feel like the one that I would remember is the one that I want to say did in fact play whenever you were in the... at the very entrance of the mansion in the ground floor. That starts like bop, and then it goes into a different kind of melody. Which I don't think uses all of these instruments. It is like a different kind of bass instrument, but I don't know. I feel like it would be hard for me to even be able to describe on the spot right now, let alone accurately communicate which one I'm referring to. But anyway, on that note, let me just jump ahead to... Is there anything else like that I see on this little preliminary lineup? No, I don't think there is. There's that. There's some Pokemon thing, which I don't necessarily feel inclined to listen to. As per my usual things that I say regarding that subject, but also... let me see. Also, I say kind of unsubtly because I saw something completely unrelated on the edge of my peripheral vision on the screen there, but More to the point, I have... what the fuck? I have become confused upon thinking what this device, which I'm interacting with at the moment, thinks my input is being, since that perception is completely wrong on its part. Only one is this, thank you very much. There we go. Start up the stopwatch, or go to the stopwatch screen, and over here. I might as well play a little bit more of the one that was very briefly heard before that Pokemon one, which was this one. Which is apparently the Bridge or Depths remix, specifically from Smash Ultimates, even though like Smash-specific remixes is something which I feel I am very weak at. With very, what the fuck, little exception. Hold on. I'm also just now navigating back to a Discord window that I had opened because I had not realized that apparently I had switched away from where I thought I had clicked last, but that window or thing that I switched to was completely failing to load, thereby masking its identity, but I think it's dealt with now at least. So after that wonderful clarification, let's maybe actually go ahead and bring this up. And hey, Ekter. And yeah, without further ado, might as well just get straight into this, which is... we'll play 5 random tracks, whichever ones are queued after, not this one, but the one after this one. Each of which will play for about a minute, and which may be guessed by any present, starting not now, but now. I have a very strange perception of this particular track, which I do recognize because I've never played this game. And there is a certain medium through which I have been told to approach this track, but it seems arbitrary because that medium did seem to involve not just this track specifically, but a number of them from this game. But honestly, I don't know, I feel like this is a game that I probably should play for myself, probably on stream at some point too. Just add that to the massive list of things that it quote-unquote feels like I should play at some point or another, which I think I somewhat tried to quantify recently. Actually, let me go ahead and go to Google Sheets on this here window that I have this on, which I am focusing on a different tab. And then the one the randomizer is playing stuff off of. It's, well, not in spite of anything, that's what I almost said, but actually that would fit, in spite of the fact that I already know what it is. Nice. Oh hey, thanks for the follow, Fragilis. Assuming that that may or may not show up as a bot message in just a moment, but regardless of that, if you're there, then welcome and thanks for that there follow. But yeah, it's clearly been more than a minute now, so this is obviously, I mean obviously, it's not necessarily obvious where there's a different time. I would say that this is not obvious at all, but it has gradually become obvious to me by exposure that this is Oblivion and the track in question is Harvest Dawn. Even though, okay, I was gonna say it cuts out in the listing that the randomizer creates, but that's not quite true. It only cuts out in the embed text, but not in the, like, the listing itself that's below that. Oh dear, chase cost stuff. I guess I'm gonna add the Elder Scrolls things that are actually in the chase to that, because I played one Elder Scrolls game at all, and it was actually something that I streamed blind, and it was Morrowind, which is not in the chase. So I guess something... I guess I would put this here. Elder Scrolls are definitely not JRPGs, but they are long-form RPGs, and very much so. So I made a note of that. Is this thing about to? No. This thing, I don't know if it's gonna have just silence for the next 40 seconds of the video, but it does appear to have, yeah, to have cut out. So I guess this video, this particular Harvest Dawn upload has like 50 seconds of silence at the end. That is kind of curious, but oh well. It's about to end in about 5 seconds now. But I've skipped around a bit. And it's going to lead into something that will probably be a bit more... perhaps not more readily recognized, because I feel like I could recognize the last one just fine, but something that I could probably contextually place more easily. I did say, hey, I got it right. That has already completely escaped my memory, but I suppose I have just said it again in case I didn't say it the first time. But yeah, I feel like this might be a bit of a trap track, at least in the sense that I do know the game immediately, and I want to say that I know the quote-unquote context, but I get the feeling that if I describe the context for this vaguely, there would still be potentially at least a couple different tracks that could fit that context, but well, it's been a minute. Not too sure on the validity of that wonderment, that doubt, that notion, but this is Paul Justice, aka Ace Attorney 4. I would say even though, but that doesn't quite apply. If I were to say even though before or after an Ace Attorney number, or also saying an Ace Attorney number, I guess I would have to say it in reference to Ace Attorney 5 or 6, because technically that wouldn't be the 5th or 6th Ace Attorney game produced by that point. Ace Attorney 5, I think, which is Dual Destinies, would technically be like the 8th. If you also count the 2 Miles Edgeworth games and also Clayton vs. Wright, but I also forgot to start the timer for this one, but I feel like this one is also extremely Vox Populi. If only because this is the one game in the series, despite something that I said just a few minutes ago, that seems to have like every last bit of its content be extremely well known. In spite of the fact that, I don't know, not just this game specifically, but the series as a whole is something that I myself feel somewhat alienated to, especially at this point. But I feel like I can say that about a lot of different games in the genre, if not the genre as a whole. I do like this track though, I do like a lot of the tracks I'm referring to, it's just not something that I consider to be familiar or easily recognizable for a lot of cases, but like I said, I feel like this particular soundtrack is Vox Populi enough that even I can't say that I have a hard time recognizing at least this. Which, since it's been a minute, I can just come out and say, well, it's been more than a minute probably since I started the timer late, but it's Smash Bros. Melee, and it's the 4-side remix from Earthbound, which is a pretty different energy from the actual 4-side track from Earthbound that it's based on. And that is track number 3, so that's the middle track. And incidentally, this does seem to be like a half-hour loop. Oh, and this little segment right here, I don't think it's something that I ever actually dwelt on before, but I'm pretty sure that's also like a different Earthbound remix, of which I think might be like the ending theme, credits, some kind of thing. I don't remember. I remember at least 2 different themes that I associate with the ending. One which I think I actually remember from playing the game myself with a trainer, like I've said many times before. And another one that apparently seems to be the one that people, I guess, get emotional over in the chase, even though that's another thing that I feel somewhat alienated to, but that's something that I should probably dwell on too much at this particular moment. But anyway, let's just go ahead and move on to track number 4 here. Here we go. Ooh, I think I know what series this is, at least I think I may know what specific game this is, as I think about this a bit more. Something else that I might actually entertain playing on stream at some point. I mean, I've done like I'm pretty sure I know the game and potentially track at this point. But yeah, maybe one day I can do something similar to the old sample bladder thingy that I made some time back, where I just do a series of like short demos of games that doesn't really take a long time to show off for all practical purposes in their entirety. Of course, I don't know if the mode that this technically is associated to would be counted as what's its kind of story mode, since it has like an actual static set of objectives that you can eventually finish. Might be thinking about this backwards, but or sideways. I might not be thinking of this very precisely, but anyway, this has been a minute, so more than a minute now. As usual, I'm pretty sure this is Bejeweled 3, and I would say this is like Classic Mode Part 2, and it is Bejeweled 3, and it is in fact Classic Mode Part 2. There you go. An interesting set of soundtracks these games have. Probably not the kind of thing that I would have associated with them before the soundtracks themselves were brought a little bit more to my attention thanks to the chase in considerable part. Are the tracks from the last chase? I do think that the playlist is, like the combined playlist is at least a little bit more extensive right now than it was the last time I shuffled it based on the 2 source links. But I think this also means that we are on to... I can't wait like another 20 seconds to let this play out, but I think this means we are on to the last track for guessing here. This one right here, which just got started immediately, and... well, even though it got started immediately, I'm pretty sure that didn't actually get started at the point, which would be technically the start of the track. That would move like around to that point. That's a bit of an odd cutting decision. I feel rather curious to see like who the uploader of this was. Was it like Sunner or something? I can't tell from the embed for some reason, even though I think that does show up sometimes. But if that is in fact the channel, then I will be a little bit surprised at how awkward that beginning sounds. But hey, this is actually oddly relevant to something that I was thinking about today, and a little bit more recently too, pretty much whenever in recent history. Well, not just in recent history, but after a certain point in the game that I'm actually going to be playing today. But also today, like before the stream, since I was doing some off-screen stuff in that game. It kind of raises the question, if I were to put that game's soundtrack in the chase, which I'm already planning to before too long, even though I got a couple of others after my current one, a couple of other submissions that I want to get through first, before getting to that. But if I were to get that soundtrack in, much like this is, since it's clearly been a minute and I'm just going to say it, this is Super Mario Sunshine and Rick Harbor with Yoshi, and on that note, let me go ahead and check the actual YouTube upload page for this. Goodness. This is not Give Us Honor, this is Deoxys Prime, or Give Us Honor, I guess. Since the meme channel is the one that uses 2 I's instead of an L. But yeah, you know how in pretty much every stage in Mario Sunshine that involves Yoshi, it's just like the normal stage theme, as well as this like extra variable mix layer of drums on top. Drums are maybe a little bit more, I don't know, but I mean in TWEWY you have something kind of similar with what's it called? When you gain the dash ability to like move around faster, you gain like an extra layer of percussions that you can, percussions are just like varied sound effects that get layered over the bass track rhythmically. And I want to say even at 2 separate rhythms, like a mid-tempo and a super fast tempo. At least that's what seems to have been suggested by some experiments that I made with that off camera, but yeah, wondering if that soundtrack actually gets into the chase, if there was a possibility, or there would be the possibility of those variations on the tracks in that soundtrack actually making it in, just much like the Yoshi variations on this soundtrack have made it into the chase. But, I mean, maybe not just on account of the fact that I don't think Mario Sunshine ever actually got an official soundtrack release, so it's just like anything that's in the game goes, versus Neo 2, which I'm pretty sure has told me it has the soundtrack accessible from a sound test from within the game itself. And I'm pretty sure they obviously don't include the like added variable mix variations as a separate thing. And maybe they would just say, based on that couldn't be a thing, but I would say that it would be at least something to consider, much like I have spent evidently plenty of time considering it. But anyway, that concludes that segment, and I'm honestly kind of glad that it concluded just before that came on. Our 6th bonus track here, which is Undertale Enemy Approaching, which... honestly, if it was up to me, if this came up, I would probably just say Undertale, generic battle theme. I don't think I've ever actually, like, not even once tried to actually make the effort to look at the track listing for Undertale, let alone listen to them outside of context. But hey, Undertale is yet another example of Vox Populi. This thing is so goddamn popular that even someone like me who hates popular things can't really reasonably deny having some considerable degree of knowledge about it. Oh, and that's the end. And, well, looks like the big parade from Out in Time would have been next, so I guess that's spoiled for whenever I come back to this, possibly tomorrow. Oh well. Too bad. Yeah, not like it matters all that much anyway. I don't know how fitting it is that I'm listening to this track specifically about, like, a level in a game that's about leading a marching band, but this is now making me, well, not this track specifically, but this is coincidentally coming at such a time when I am somewhat more focused on the fact that apparently speaking is making me keep my neck unusually stiff right now, and it's not feeling great after a little while. I don't know if it's trying to speak up or trying to speak into the microphone, but I guess you can't see me right now, but I'm trying to, like, wobble a little bit back and forth right now, specifically to avoid that happening. I wonder how that'll work out for me, but yeah. Let's go ahead and fade out the, you know, before the big old flourish that happens right before I blue-walled everyone who knows what I'm talking about, but right then, right there. Let's go ahead and cut that out at the moment and temporarily return to yet another track that is probably gonna be the one to blue ball me this time, if I had to guess, since I don't know if it's gonna take me 4 minutes and 44, you know, fittingly enough, 4 minutes and 44 seconds to go from me clicking play on that thing to actually setting up the game here, which I will now do. I mean, there is... nah. Never mind. I was gonna say something else, but I get the feeling that probably for my sake, specifically if I want to try and... Oh shit, actually hold on, there's something I gotta do real quick. Which I guess I forgot to do today. I'm gonna do some kawaii shit on Duolingo real quick. Not in any kind of... oh boy. Okay, oh Jesus. I think I'm hearing hail making its way into my room through the window now. Actually, hold on. I need to take care of that first. I will return to address this thing that I just mentioned in just a moment. There's like at least some tiny bits of hail coming down. That's honestly pretty amazing. I'm actually kind of curious to see what it's going to look like outside after this little episode is done, but... yeah, I mean, too bad that it being called off outside to actually be able to hail, because that's a verb too. It's not translated to it being consistently fresh inside where I am right now, due to poor ventilation, but anyway. Yeah, hail in August. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, for like at least the last 10 years, I want to say, or something, I've come to notice that where I live, summer is the rainy season. And it's like 100 plus here. Someone is in the southern hemisphere. I'm not even in the southern hemisphere, that's the thing. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, I literally went outside for, yeah, literally 2 weeks ago from today. I went outside and I had to stand under the sun for about 3 hours, and I ended up getting a sunburn, and my forehead ended up peeling off just a few days later. And yet right now this is happening. It's kind of wild. But yeah. I was about to do some kawaii shit, wasn't I? Let me do that. Let's see if I can possibly exposit what I am doing. There's Yako. This is Kaisha. Or at least imply what I am doing without actually showing anything. What is a company? It's gotta be Kaisha, I guess. Duh, that is yes in Russian. Very important information, you see.